Hey there! Welcome to the Distracted Librarians podcast. We're your friendly neighborhood bookworms with a penchant for all things pop culture.
Picture this as our digital campfire, where we dive into our latest obsessions, analyze our favorite distractions, and rediscover the joy of reading.
Whether you're a media enthusiast, a book lover, or just need a break from the daily grind, you've come to the right spot.
So kick back, relax, and get delightfully distracted with us.
Hey everybody! On this episode of Distracted Librarians, we're going to talk about read-alikes. What on earth is a read-alike? Well, we'll get to that. My name's Nicole.
I'm Drew.
I'm Killian.
I'm Amanda.
All right, how do we describe what a read-alike is? I mean, it kind of says it right there.
Things that read similarly to other things.
There you go.
For a myriad of reasons.
Yes.
It's similar to the, if you like this, you should read that.
Yeah.
Kind of that idea. Yeah, okay. They are usually focused on different things, right? Like what kind of questions do we usually get when we do a read-alike for somebody?
A lot of times it'll start at the broader, like, what genres are you interested in?
Mm-hmm.
What did you like about the things that you've read most recently?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they come in with a specific book that they want to read alike from, and then it's, well, what did you like about that book? What can we, pull from it to say, okay, I think you'll also find that here.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're taking the information, and sometimes it's a little bit of information, and sometimes it's a lot, and kind of dissecting it into certain things we can look for in other books, right? So genre is one of them, right? That's a pretty easy one. I mean, if somebody says, I love The Lord of the Rings, then we kind of know what to work with there. And then what other things do we look for?
I know one of the big things, especially if someone is looking for something that's a romance, is going to be the tropes that they like. And that can be based off of books that they've liked before. Or, it might be, okay, I've been reading a lot of this one. I would like something the complete opposite.
And what kind of tropes are we talking about? Just because there's industry kind of things that
sure.
we know.
Yeah, and you can get the tropes from any sort of genre fiction. So you go into the romance and it's the, enemies to lovers, only one bed, second chance romance, things along those lines. You go into the mysteries and it's like the amateur sleuth, the small town, I'm not as familiar with mysteries.
There was this audible revulsion on his face as he was doing that. He was like, ugh.
I've set up a world where I give 3 examples and I only know 2 examples. Oh, no.
And then other things that we look for, like tone, which is just like, is it cozy? Is it crazy? Is it unhinged? I mean, these are all things that we could be looking for.
Is it a fast read? Is it a dense read?
Yeah, I definitely will look at that a lot of the times too, because there's a big difference between reading something that's really lyrical, considered language, and then something that is written to be quick and snappy and easy to get through.
Sure.
And someone who's looking for one is not going to want the other one in that moment.
Exactly. Sometimes people get annoyed by multiple timelines or a lot of characters, which they might think okay, it was just a hard read, but they don't know, they don't put their finger on the fact that okay, it's because there was many timelines and it was really confusing, or there's a huge family tree and you couldn't keep track of 14 characters.
Okay.
So I think that's something that comes up a lot in adult and teen. And so, if they didn't like it, that's what I hear a lot. It's
okay.
I got confused. They were going back and forth in time all the time.
Okay.
I know there's also people have really strong opinions on the perspective, whether it's first person or third person or a dual narrator or a bunch of different narrators. And that can be something to really consider. And that's one of the harder ones to figure out sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's also one of the ones that, unless I've actually read the book, I may not know off the top of my head.
Oh my gosh, I cannot remember what perspective a book is written in generally ever for any reason.
Probably not second, but there are a few.
Yeah. Yeah. Which that's tricky too, because like I do the book recommendations. We have a form at the library.
We do too.
And that's something that I've seen pop up a few times, and then I have to like Google it to make sure that I know if it's, or check the book itself to be really sure about it, because that's a very specific request. Also, children, why do you know this? But anyway. And then there's also like cross genre interests. Like, we like to talk about not just books, but, sometimes there's a music reason why somebody might like a specific book. They really like this album, then they might like this book. There's games that can tie in really nicely with books and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, there are whole industries devoted to trying to take something that you like and use that to convince you that you'll also like this thing. It's a very broad thing. It would never just stay in the book world.
Totally. So when we're looking for read-alikes for a patron, how do we know that we're like heading down the right path for them generally? A lot of the time it's just stuff that we've already, like, I don't know. I'm always recommending things that I've read. And if I am not sure, I'll look it up online and go from there, or ask a coworker that's awesome at that specific genre. That's kind of hard sometimes, though.
Yeah, I know I mentally have, there's things that are really popular kids' books, and I just somewhere in a file cabinet in the back of my brain have the folder that's like, oh, yep, kids love Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and they're going to come in looking for other books, and what am I going to give them? And there's this list of other books that are like Diary of a Wimpy Kid because I know I'm going to need them.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's something just as simple as having more illustrations, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Sometimes the kids are looking for a little bit more. It's not a graphic novel, but it has a little bit more. It's got more to look at than just words on a page. And so we can kind of use that as a reason to recommend another book similar. Yeah. Okay, cool. What about teen and adult? Like when you are looking for suggestions based on books that they liked when they were kids, do you have to deal with that at all? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always hard because they are, probably basing what they want to read something like on something that they read maybe years ago as a kid.
Sure.
And only have their like mental picture of what the book was then, and what it meant to them then as someone who was so emergent into books at the time that they hadn't been like exposed to all that much.
Sure.
So it's sort of an uphill battle to figure out what level of book to give them, figure out what they liked about it in the first place.
Yeah.
And people have a hard time communicating why they liked something or why they didn't.
Sure.
It's like when I go get a haircut, I can't actually explain what I want because I don't know the terminology. And it's like, well, did you like that character? Did you like the plot? Did you like the feeling it gave you? Did you like being surprised? Did you like feeling scared? So like I'll ask questions like that.
Okay.
But it's pretty hard, especially when you are going from like a children's book to YA or YA to adult, because some of those books, like they're just written differently, right? YA tends to be a little bit more universal in themes. Adult, you might have like a really experimental type of writing, multiple timelines, things like that. And that might make someone love it or not like it.
I can imagine, too, when people are looking at, okay, I want something that's like this book I read as a kid, there's a nostalgia factor at play.
Yes.
And you're not going to get that with something new no matter what. And sometimes it's as easy as, go back and read it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You read this book years ago. You want that same feeling back. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you can't read the kids' books.
I know.
It's allowed.
I was talking to one of the other youth librarians, and we were talking about how, like, we're kind of doing it backwards because, we're adults that read adult books, but we work for kids, so we read kids' books. And so when we think of something, we're usually thinking of at it from the perspective of, oh, this adult book reminds me of this kid's book, not this kid's book reminds me of this adult book. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like we're doing it backwards. And, so if somebody, thankfully people don't really ask us this that much. Sometimes we'll have like an 8th grader that's like ready to move into the other room, and then we can help them or send them your way.
Yeah.
But like we have to kind of wrap our brain around like, what is it that we like about these two things? Why do they remind me of the same thing?
Am I looking for a magical school book, but with more teenage problems than kid problems? Mm-hmm. Am I looking for something that is comforting and feels more kid-like because that's simpler?
Yeah.
It's a different vibe.
I have an interesting question then for you guys. I was just thinking about this as you were talking. So the books that you liked as a kid, is there a through line between those and what you like now?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But I think in some ways, yeah.
In what ways?
So I really liked fantasy kind of from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the fantasy that was available to me in the 80s was so different than the fantasy that's available, like it's leaps and bounds.
Yes.
Like completely different, a lot more available. So yeah, I feel like that has been something that has interested me my whole life, but it's just gotten like incrementally better as time has gone on. And now I'm just like full world into that, like, this is where I live now. This is my fantasy.
Well, and like I grew up on a lot of Disney princess fairy tale type things. And as I've gotten older, like when I was a kid, I loved Ella Enchanted. I loved things still that had those fairy tale elements. As I've gotten older, I still love those. And it's the same general concept. The complexity matures. And as we mature as humans, like that makes sense that we're going to like similar things that are simply more complex and more mature. But I still love Ella Enchanted. Mm-hmm. Yes. And if you tell me, like, this adult book has some Ella Enchanted vibes,
you're probably going to read it.
I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Sorcery and Small Magics.
Yeah.
That's how we got there.
And Killian, I think you make a really good point in saying, like, just read the kids' book again. Read it. And then maybe you can figure out what you liked about it so much. And go from there too. It's definitely going to read differently. Right now, because we still read to our kids before bed every night, I'm rereading a lot of books that I've already read. We're reading Lord of the Rings right now. My take of Lord of the Rings when I read it in my 20s is completely different than me reading it to my children at 45. Completely different. I have a different perspective about this whole thing, and I'm seeing it through their eyes because they're talking to me about it. It's very, very cool. And I can see it, like there's just a completely different perspective. And I think it's important to have those kind of different perspectives about things too.
And I also like the suggestion because they're going to have it fresh in their mind again. So when they come and say, hey, I want something like this, they can have more tangible things of this is what I liked about it. Yeah. And not just this is how the memory of it from 4 years ago makes me feel.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So we talked a little bit about the reader recommendation forms. Those are available. You guys deal with those too. Some of the questions that are on there are like, what are books that you like to read before? So we have an access point right there. But also questions like, what are books that you didn't like before? Why didn't you like them? And sometimes people are really scrimp on answering those questions, and it makes our job a little harder. Yeah, but that's not real life. Like sometimes we'll read something we don't like. Yeah. And those are just easier ways of helping us to really kind of pinpoint what you're really looking for. Do you prefer a male main character or a female main character or an animal main character? Like there's all of those different things that we can look at to really pick the right thing. Definitely. What about novelists?
Novelist is a really cool database that we have access to through the library. Any patron can use it from the library or from home. And it basically is just a service that provides read-alikes. You can search any book that you have previously read on it, and it will automatically generate a certain number of read-alikes for either the title, the author, or if it's in a series, a read-alike for the whole series. But it also has a much more customizable option where Novelist puts a lot of tags on the book.
Okay.
And those tags can be plot-based, can be genre-based, can be the feel of the book-based. And you just go through and hit the check mark on things that you liked about it, and it will generate a list of the same books, of books that have the same tags.
Cool.
Yeah, and it'll tell you, like, these are the things about this book, so you can really, you get that suggestion about what you might have liked about it if you don't know for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The power of suggestion is real.
And being able to identify things, I think, is like kind of really key here. Like as a person asking for a recommendation, identifying what you really liked about it the best. Like, was it the dog that you liked the best? Or, you know, was it the little sister that you really enjoyed, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So, yeah, we've talked about patrons not being specific enough. That's really tough sometimes, especially kids. I think with children coming in,
a lot of them are shy to begin with.
half the time they don't even want to talk to you.
You ask them a question and they're like, I don't know, I don't want to answer wrong. And I'm just like, there's not a wrong answer. I just want your opinion.
I mean,
okay.
Even just the tiniest little bit of like, what was the last book you read? We can work with that, you know, and then we can go from there, and that's really helpful.
It's a lot of kind of like hand-holding through the process of getting those answers.
And then you get to the adult side, and a lot of times they're coming in hoping it'll be like a 30-second interaction of, oh, what's a book I should read? Here you go. And and every time we try and ask, you know, a clarifying question and dig down with them, it's like they weren't expecting to come up against this,
right?
Or to be prepared to back up their why they liked their most recent thing, what was the last thing they read, how long has it been since you've last read. You know, they weren't prepared for the sort of reference interview side of things.
Yeah.
So we have the same sort of teeth pulling, but for different reasons.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think sometimes it can also just, when someone starts questioning you about your taste, it can, even if we're not judging you, but it can feel that way, and I can understand that.
Sure. Well, and this is also why I think displays are so important too, because even if a patron does not want to speak to a human being, they might still access something that they're interested in by looking at a display. Like, oh, hey, I remember this book I really liked that was a cozy mystery. Look at this display of cozy mysteries. You know, like, voila, all of these books that I could potentially read. I think that's like, you know, for the shy ones, the ones that don't want to talk to us.
We've got the book menus that are just these booklets with lists that we've made that are very visual. It's got the covers of books. So it'll be like, here are books that are sad. Here are books that are like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Here are books that are about food. So there's a bunch of different topics in there. They get changed out once in a while. And it gives people a starting point.
Sure. Yeah.
Having the covers is helpful too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget the titles of books and the names of authors. Patrons definitely do. They're like,
yes.
I don't remember the book that I liked. And some of them have a Goodreads account, and that's really helpful. And some of them just forget. Some of them call their spouse, which I think is really adorable. And they're like, what was I reading? I think it's on the table in the foyer. Can you go look for me?
I love that.
But I think like the displays, super helpful just because it's visual, or like a brochure. And we definitely try to do that. But
yeah, there's a lot of, well, I don't know what it was, but I'd know it if I saw it. And I'm like, okay.
That's super helpful. We have 330,000 items in this library.
Yes.
Let's see how we can narrow things down from there.
All right. Well, so let's do some read-alikes right here and now. If somebody really liked I Survived, can you think of a book that would go along with the I Survived series, like that they would have liked as an adult? I have Into the Wild, because I don't know, have you guys read that one?
Long time ago.
I mean, it's like survival story. This guy goes into the wilds of Alaska to live by himself and survive off the land. And it's kind of like this whole process of leaving his family behind and all of that good stuff. But it has that like the tone and the survival bit of it that is still there. So an adult could read it and be like, oh, this reminds me of that.
Yeah. I was thinking of it more in line of the I Survive series is nonfiction books about, you know, real disasters.
Sure.
So I was thinking things like, you know, The Wager, David Gran, things that do talk about, you know, actual disasters or actual things that have happened, but with a much more in-depth look, where it doesn't. I don't want to say the I Survive series stays surface, but doesn't dive as deeply into
it has to be
topics. Yeah.
simple enough that a kid can digest it pretty quickly.
And I think that would be the first step for me is, okay, are you wanting more fictionalized accounts, more fictional adventure type things? Or are you interested in
the Titanic? You know, like we can get you a book on the Titanic and what actually happened there.
The Hatchet might be a good pull through with those, just because I feel like most people have read that in school,
right?
You know, and be like, well, did you like The Hatchet?
Yeah.
Did you like learning about or reading about how he like made a fire in the rain?
Yeah.
Other youth suggestions, I'd also go back to Dear America.
Okay.
Because those will never not be stuck in my brain, because that's what I grew up on. Some early I Survived I read as a kid, but I read so much of the Dear America, and they are a little bit, I think, just in size-wise, they look a little bit bigger for kids. And so it's a good next step for kids who are looking for read-alikes for that.
Yeah. Okay, what about The Hunger Games? I mean, oh my gosh. How many times do we have people coming in saying, I want something to read after I've read The Hunger Games?
And how much did I think I was free from The Hunger Games putting out new IP, and then Suzanne Collins comes and punches me in the face for 5 years?
Well, here we are.
Right?
So I was thinking, I don't know, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
Has that kind of vibe.
Correct. I hate that book.
I know, I hate it too, but it has that vibe.
You're not
It totally
wrong.
has that vibe. Anything else? Can you think of anything else?
There is a galaxy of YA dystopia.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. There's like, what, Divergent and I'm trying to think.
Darkest
Scythe.
Minds. Scythe, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to cross my legs. Okay.
I loved Ember in the Ashes when that came out.
Cool. There's also The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, which has a very similar kind of situation, but for grown people. Moving on up.
There's a YA book that I have not read, but I've heard so many good things about. We actually heard about it the first time when we did our bookstore adventure a while back.
Oh.
Called Snow Globe, that was translated from Korean, and it is still on my list of things that I need to read. And one day I will get there.
The second one came out.
Oh boy.
Of course
We're
it did.
terribly behind. Okay, Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's the easy one.
It's the easy one.
Because we get the question so often, so you can go the magical school route and give them, you know, the magicians, Lev Grossman.
Yeah.
There are so many avenues for it, and it's so talked to death, essentially.
Pretty much.
That if someone is coming from that world, they know what they like about it. You know, it's not something that they read on their own that they're like, yeah, I liked this. I can't really quantify why. People know why they like those.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
So it's a very easy launch point.
Sure.
I will often tend to go with an older classic fantasy. Anything by Tamara Pierce gives that kind of like growing up in a fantasy world. Some of them have magic, some of them don't. The newer F.T. Lukens YA books also have some of that. The Scholomance series as well in the adult realm of things. I haven't read it. Again, TBR, never ending. But I do know that one is built around academia, magical academia, in a way that may also ring through for people.
Cool.
Those books are fantastic.
I would say maybe a better Harry Potter series is the Golden Compass series.
Yes.
Okay.
So like also starts off
Philip Pullman.
in a school.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a slightly more sophisticated.
Yes.
But also
I would argue any day that that series of books is not a children's book series.
I feel like it's
odd that
YA?
it's in there.
Yeah.
And that it just this is one of those ones where I'm like, just because the character is a child
Or 'cause
does
there's
not
talking
mean that the
animals.
book is for children.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
In the youth room, I'd also say the Nevermore series, the Morgan Crow series.
Amari and the Night Brothers.
Yep. Those are my two go-tos for that same vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would argue that they're also better.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I would like to add the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. Those books are absolutely stunningly amazing and very magical. The main character is a mage, so it has that same vibe there. Also, The Bear and the Nightingale. I can't remember what the name of the series is actually called, but it's Catherine Arden. And that the cool thing about that is like it has all the magical stuff that's involved there, but then it's also Russian mythology instead of, your same run-of-the-mill Anglo-Saxon mythology that we see all the time. It's something from a different group of people, and it's enjoyable. Very cool. All right. Well, what about animal books? If somebody really enjoyed animal books when they were a kid, what should they read as an adult? Can you think of anything?
My first instinct was that mountain lion book.
Oh my gosh.
Open Throat, Henry
Yes,
Hope.
Open Throat. Yeah.
Have not read it, need to read it.
I don't think that has
probably
anything
not
to do with
here, though.
Probably not correct here, though.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There is actually, though, if you're like, I'm a kid who liked to have a book open with pictures of zoo animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like it was P22 about the mountain lion in California.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you go to the 500s, there's actually a lot of books that like will focus on a type of animal.
Okay. Like individual stories kind of
Yeah.
situation.
So like that's nonfiction and
Yeah.
it's talking about I'm going to try and look up actually the specific name and author, but there's a lot in the 500s, which is
Okay.
your science section.
Yeah.
That might focus on like wolves or grizzly bears or mountain lions and things
Sure.
like that.
I do think animal fantasy is one of those genres that really dies out as you get into YA and adult, though.
Oh,
Like,
it's
you
not
see
as prevalent.
Warrior Cats
Right,
and
yeah.
Redwall and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
in the youth room. And where do you go from there if
Well,
you
so
still
there's-
want animals?
I was thinking Watership Down, which is just a
Yeah.
book about rabbits
Yeah.
and their politics and
good.
everything. I have not read it, but Remarkably Bright Creatures. Is it
Super
is it
cute.
from the perspective of the octopus or like?
It is.
A part of it, yes.
Okay, so I mean, I think that could meet the vibe of that too.
I recommend that a lot for different reasons because you have like a nice intergenerational family story.
Okay.
You have the perspective of the octopus. For someone who's like, I want a book that's inventive, I think that's like a really inventive perspective.
Yeah.
It's probably why that one's so popular, is it can hit a lot of
Yeah.
notes.
And it's sort of happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what are some books that you would like read-alikes for? You can email those to us, and we'll see if we can put our librarian thinking caps on and figure those out for you.
Yes, put us to task.
Yes. And until then, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians.
Many thanks to BCTV for their support in recording, editing, and releasing this podcast, and to the Friends of the Library for sponsoring closed captioning on every episode.
If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us at distracted@btpl.org.
Until then, keep those pages turning and those screens lighting up. We'll catch you in the next episode.
The views and opinions expressed in the Distracted Librarians podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Bloomfield Township Public Library, Bloomfield Community Television, the Birmingham Area Cable Board, or its producers or production staff.